Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Rad Company. James Alvarado here. Yesterday we covered some of our favorite EPs of the year so far. Today we've got our LPs. I've got 15 here in no particular order. Let's just get started. So first we've got Hop Along and their LP Painted Shut. The band sounds great here. The rhythm section is tight. Frontwoman Frances Quinlan sounds great all throughout. And I think she provides a lot of the entertainment on this thing and a lot of hooks. But one thing I do want to highlight is Joe Reinhardt's guitar playing on this album. I love the creativity in his riffs. The guy's just performing gymnastics around the rhythm section all over the place. And the understated interplay between his guitar and Quinlan's vocals on songs like Powerful Man just had a whole other layer of enjoyability to me throughout this album. Next we've got post-hardcore band out of Boston, Pile, with You're Better Than This. I love the way this band approaches their guitar riffs and their guitar playing. And I think on this record, between frontman Rick McGuire's vocals, the frenetic guitar riffs, the off-kilter song structures, the way the band plays with dynamics all throughout, it really makes for one of the most entertaining post-hardcore releases of the year. Next is Turnstile with their record Nonstop Feeling. This old school, throwback hardcore that harkens back to the late 80s, early 90s era of the genre. They really highlight the good parts of that sound the way a band like Dope Body does, although maybe not as much finesse or subtlety. If you're a fan of the East Coast hardcore and crossover sound, this is probably something you want to be checking out. If you're into the hardcore but want something maybe a little more modern sounding, check out Shabalba's Tierra y Libertad record. That thing is crushing. Next we've got a guy who came off his contribution to the Kendrick Lamar record and gave us the epic. I'm talking about Kamasi Washington. Between this album, the aforementioned Kendrick record, the latest work from Flying Lotus, stuff Thundercat's been doing, it's all really starting to put jazz back on everybody's radar. This thing is an absolute monster of a record, triple LP, that lives up to the title. It's as simple as that. Next up is Courtney Barnett's record, Sometimes I Sit and Think, and Sometimes I Just Sit. This is some indie pop by way of New Zealand. It's just really easy to digest, jangly pop rock with tons of hooks on it. You really come and stay for Courtney Barnett's personality on this thing. She's a punk and post-punk informed Sheryl Crow. The sound is just reminiscent of that girl power pop of the 90s. Next up, I want to talk about Ricky Eat Acid's Mixtape. I first discovered Ricky Eat Acid through his Haunt You Forever EP that came out in 2011. It was just a collection of raw beats that came out at the tail end of the chill wave movement, and I love the thing. I still listen to it all the time. More recently, his work, like his last album, 3 Love Songs, is on the ambient side of things. And on this record, Mixtape, it's back to the beat making of Haunt You Forever, only he's bringing the sonics and the textures that he's been exploring on his ambient work here, and it's just a really satisfying experience. Next, I want to talk about Torche's Restarter record. I love the thing. I feel like a lot of people are having a hard time not calling this thing a return to form for the band. And I just don't feel like Harmonicraft was a bad record. That record has some of the band's heaviest moments in their discography on it. I just think it was a really great hard rock record, and I don't think we necessarily go to Steve Brooks and company for a hard rock record. I think we go to them for them to bring the heavy, and that's what they did here on Restarter. This album is loud, the compression is through the roof on this thing, and without getting into a lame discussion about volume wars or anything like that, I think it fits the band's style and serves the album well here. Next up, we got VIACON's self-titled record. VIACON is a post-punk band out of Canada, features 2 members formerly of the band Women in bassist Matt Flegel and drummer Mike Wallace. For all of the dark, dense, cold moments on this record, there's just as many melodic, catchy passages and phrases throughout that really make the songs memorable. This entire record just sticks in your head. Next we've got Lady Lamb the Beekeeper's After. Lady Lamb is Ali Spaltro out of Maine. Her voice is gorgeous on this thing. The lyrics are familiar but thoughtful, and the bass sound on this is really, really pleasant. Really smooth, warm sounding bass throughout the record. I think if you thought the Courtney Barnett record was a little too straightforward in terms of instrumentation and songwriting, this might be the record for you to check out. Next is a sludge and doom post-metal band out of Seattle, Washington, and I'm talking about Brothers of the Sonic Cloth and their self-titled record. This thing was released on New Rot Recordings earlier this year, and as the name suggests, that is a record label that was founded and is run by members of the highly influential post-metal band Neurosis. This thing has what you'd expect in down-tuned guitars, growling bass, really big drum sounds. And for it only being 5 songs, I feel like the way they combine sludge and doom fare with post-metal influence, it really leaves a lot to chew on this record. The songs are monstrous on this thing. Next is Alabama Shake's Sound and Color record. Really bluesy, soulful indie rock here. Brittany Howard's vocals are great on all of these songs, and the grooves are undeniable on this thing. That track, Guess Who, is one of my favorite tracks of the year so far. Going into the hip-hop realm now, I want to talk about Joey Badass's Before the Money. If you like these records, you probably want to check this one out. This thing is great all the way through and only gets better the deeper you get into it, with some of my favorite moments of it coming at the tail end with songs like Curry Chicken and Only Child Blues. Next we've got Cloakroom and their debut EP, Further Out. This is just some shoegazy, sludgy, noisy emo right here. Huge walls of sound, really big distorted bass sound, and at times really great clean guitar passages, really driving drums. What makes this record really stand out to me though is Doyle Martin's lyrics and vocal contribution to this record. They're coming off an incredible EP in Infinity, which I loved, and I think this record really hammers home the fact that this band knows how to write a good song. Next, I want to talk about Vattnet Viskar's Settler LP. This is a band out of New Hampshire, and this is just a gorgeous, sprawling American black metal record. This thing covers so much ground in so little time, soaring, heroic riffs, passages that evoke weightlessness, and it's got themes that really reflect the power of the image that's on the cover of this album. And if you're into this record and you dig the sound, you probably want to check out Sandhead's Revisionist, just a really, really great instrumental post-metal record. Last here we have Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. I feel like this guy just puts a really big weight on his shoulders to not only give us a great hip-hop record, but to also send a message that could potentially affect positive change. And I think that's not only admirable, but evident all over this thing. I love the choices they made with the production in using a full band at times. And I know it sounds corny, but I feel like this whole record just sounds inspired all the way through. That's it. That's all I've got. What are y'all's favorite records this year? Let me know what I missed. Did I make any mistakes? Did some of these records really suck? Subscribe, like, share this video. You can reach us at radco on all social media, or you can email me at contact@radcompany.com. Catch you guys later.